This edition of 5 at 5 is brought to you by Spirit Super.
Hi, I'm Maisie and this is CCN's Weekly News 5 at 5, September 3rd. With 8 new confirmed positive COVID-19 cases on the coast today, there has been fresh calls for vigilance after a number of exposure sites were listed in Gosford, Wyong, Wyoming and Bateau Bay. That brings the local tally of cases to 78 since the Delta wave commenced on the coast in mid-June. The full list of exposure venues and dates can be found on our website. With less than 2 weeks until further freedoms will be offered to those fully vaccinated, and with less than half of Central Coast residents having received their second dose, there are concerns over the coast's lack of Pfizer supply. Thousands of residents have voiced their frustrations about the wait to get the jab after the state government diverted Pfizer doses away from the coast last month. We spoke to Parliamentary Secretary for the Central Coast, Adam Crouch, about his concerns over the impact on local residents.
They've got people lining up wanting to get vaccinated, but for specific reasons, they have to have Pfizer. And at the moment, those supplies just aren't enough to meet the requirements. So it's really important that the federal government do supply enough Pfizer to meet those needs of the people who want to do the right thing and get vaccinated. I mean, we've got very good vaccination rates here on the Central Coast. And while people are absolutely ready and willing to do the right thing, we've got to provide every avenue for them to be able to do it.
Labor MPs have called on the state government to introduce test and isolate payments on the Central Coast as the region records its 78th local case since the start of the outbreak. The payments would help cover the lost wages of casual workers and those who may have exhausted their sick leave or carers leave to isolate at home. Currently, only individuals residing in one of Sydney's local government areas of concern who do not receive federal government financial support are eligible for the payment. Shadow Parliamentary Secretary for the Central Coast, David Harris, spoke to CCN about what this would mean for residents.
We have a situation where if you're in that situation where you have to isolate, you get a payment of $320. But on the Central Coast and other regional areas, you receive nothing. And we think that's grossly unfair. We think that it should be a system like in Victoria. Victoria, it's the whole state. So if you have to isolate, if you have to do the right thing, and follow the rules, which we want people to do, not be out there possibly positive and spreading the virus around, then you're compensated. But in New South Wales, we have a 2-tiered system. So if you're in an LGA of concern, you get $320. Outside of that, you get nothing.
And in the same interview, David Harris lamented the fact that Parliament has been suspended in September. And Labor MPs again have asked the state government to open up Parliament at least for one day, to go to Parliament to make an amendment so that they could conduct parliamentary business online. Here's what he had to say on that issue.
Take a simple amendment and allow members to meet remotely and obviously undertake the business of Parliament. And the government obviously lured into a false sense of security after the COVID-A or the Alpha strain last year, and didn't put in place the necessary procedures for us now when we're back in lockdown to meet again. And that's a real shame for our democracy.
And in good news for the state government, the new intercity trains called the Mariong Fleet have received their final tick of approval to start carrying rail travellers on the Central Coast and Newcastle line. Minister for Transport, Andrew Constance, said the Office of National Rail Safety Regulator had endorsed the safety of the trains. He said they were equipped with advanced technology not available on existing intercity trains and will have wider, more spacious 2x2 seating for extra legroom and comfort with armrests, tray tables and high seat backs. Transport for New South Wales and New South Wales Trainlink are working through the final arrangements to bring the fleet into service as soon as possible. And the Westpac rescue helicopter conducted a rescue on Wednesday this week from onboard the bulk carrier Sweet Melissa, anchored 20 kilometres east of Terrigal. It was reported that a 46-year-old crewman was suffering from a serious medical condition and required urgent transport to hospital. The Westpac helicopter winched the critical care medical team to the carrier where they were stabilised, and before they were put on a stretcher, winched off and flown to John Hunter Hospital in Newcastle.
Thanks, Dave. Woy Woy's Soul Food Cafe is trying to unite the Peninsula community during lockdown. The Pay It Forward wall has been feeding those doing it tough at the moment. Our reporter Sky Hull visited the cafe to find out more.
A kind gesture from one coastie to another. The Pay It Forward wall at Woy Woy's Soul Food Cafe and Grocer is helping bring the Peninsula community together while staying apart. Whether it be a coffee, a free meal or money to spend in store and groceries. Soul Food owner Christina Thompson says she's been blown away by the generosity of others.
I mean, it's fine to contribute to large international and local charities. That is very meaningful as well. To do it for someone who you know in your community, whose circumstances may have changed, it just makes it so personal. And while we are so sort of estranged from each other and so isolated, to have something with a personal touch that you can leave your name or leave your name off, I just think it speaks to the part of ourselves that can't hug each other anymore.
Yes, Macy, exciting news breaking today with the announcement of the Mariners' plans to fully harmonise the W League with the A League by 2022-23. This involves the inclusion of 3 new teams so that both the men and women leagues have the same 12 teams in each competition. The Mariners have submitted a request for their new team to be to the Australian Professional League, APL, and CEO Sean Milcamp of the Mariners said he was confident in success, but is aware of a number of upcoming challenges regarding local grassroots development, training and playing facilities, sponsorship, of course, and funding. To help meet these challenges, the Mariners have also applied to FIFA for the Central Coast to be a nominated base for the upcoming Women's World Cup in 2023. That's all for sport.
Thanks, Dave. All of these stories and thousands more can be found on our website without a paywall or in this week's Coast Community News, Coast Community Chronicle and the Pelican Post. Remember to subscribe to all of our Twitter, Facebook and Instagram pages for updates throughout the week and keep an eye out for Sky Hull's video updates. To finish off this week, we leave you with a snippet of Winterbourne's mockumentary film called Revolutionary Film, and it's not what you'd expect. Look out for the full interview in next week's Amped. We hope you have a fun and safe weekend in lockdown, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Even though before the weather can bring it down.
It's not a straight line, is it? You can't put A in your phone and expect it to give you the best way to B. Well, maybe you can, I don't know. No, but what would B even be? Play Glastonbury? Be biggest band in world? Is that good enough? And what would it even say? Route 1 includes tolls, probably. Route 2 is 3 years faster but lacks a sense of fulfillment. Route 3 has heavy traffic, 3 speed traps and takes you through the tunnel of darkness. Route 4 avoids heavy traffic, speed traps and darkness, but takes you through the bottomless lake of metaphors. Would you do it if you could see it all in front of you? Surely, right? Because if we don't know the ending of our story, how can we really be the writers of our own script? Or maybe we're just the pen. I don't know. We're running out of time.
Spirit Super is the industry super fund that backs all hardworking Aussies. With support you can count on, low fees, and a history of strong returns, it all starts with Spirit.